Bitcoin holding on by the tip of its fingers right now at 25K. We have FTX getting ready to dump on the altcoin market, and the governor of New Mexico coming out as a verified lizard person. All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
Cross the red wire with the blue wire.
Oh, God.
Okay. Welcome one, welcome all. Hello, Beastmaster Deadwood, Nick Shepard. We're joined with the crew here. Today it's a beautiful day. It's a, what is it, a Tuesday? I think it's a
Monday,
Tuesday.
bro.
It's a Monday?
Yeah. It's
I've been watching the markets all weekend. It's been fanatical come up to this dump that we're having right now. Owen, how the hell are you doing over there? I need to see your face. Let me see it. He came in here.
One button.
He's the reason we're late. Owen.
It is his fault. So
Yeah.
just so you know, he's filming some shorts. We're making some shorts covering a lot of 2A news, a lot of stuff outside of crypto, maybe more macro political. For those that like that kind of content, make sure to check out the Blockchain Basement, Blockchain Bunker sub show and our shorts coming out. But, you know, we got the Biscuit Jesus. Your hair looks better than normal.
I parted it a weird direction. I don't know how I feel about it.
Look at the flowing locks, though.
It's like you shampooed it.
Kind of comes together.
Did.
Nice.
How you doing, Aaron?
Doing great. It's Monday. Had a great weekend. Very busy weekend.
Yeah.
Watched a lot of college football. Go Dogs. Any dog fans in the chat?
Go Dogs. Go
Go
Dogs.
Dogs.
You didn't do what I did this weekend?
What'd you do?
Changed out my serpentine belt, my belt tensioner, and my idler pulley.
little bit of
No,
work.
I did not do
Because
that.
you want to do that before you have to do that.
A little bit of work. I did definitely sell my FJ. Very sad day. Very sad.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah, I've had the FJ for a long while, but I needed more seats. Needed more seats for a growing family that I have, and you know, I really haven't used the 4-wheel drive since I left Colorado. So, gotta kind of balance what's important there. So, got a 2-wheel drive, 3-row seats. So that'll be a little bit better for the mornings, taking the kids to and from. Yeah,
Go Dogs. I see it. Michael King.
Yeah, Michael King's
Let's
in
go.
my Instagram.
Corey
all the
too.
time.
Corey. I've seen him.
What, Harden?
I think that's his last name.
Yeah,
I've seen him
Corey
on
Harden.
Twitter. I've seen him on YouTube. A lot of love in the chat from him.
Yeah, he's wearing a New Money Gang shirt.
Yeah, I
That's
see
an
that.
OG.
Hey,
Yeah.
what? That's
I think
sick.
it's Meta Money.
That's sick.
Oh,
Oh,
Meta Money, yeah.
wouldn't that be something if that came back? Who knows?
Child cheese.
Who knows? Well, the crypto market's acting kind of crazy. It had a really heavy crash basically from this
Whoa.
25.6, 25.7 range that we were holding on to just barely. This is the daily chart. Dumped down to 25K flat for a moment. This is the 7-day. And then we go to the weekly here. I think it was Corey that had the Groot pattern here. He was highlighting how this looks like the Groot.
I am
head.
Groot or Groot?
Yeah, I am Groot. Or is it Groot or Groot?
Yes.
It's Groot.
It's Groot.
Bro.
That's what I thought.
How dare you talk of him like
I know.
that?
Unbelievable. But yeah, this thing is looking like Groot, or Groot is pointing downwards here. This is on the monthly, I believe. And then we go to the year. All right, that's the overall. But the year is looking like we're fighting here. We're fighting to find our little home. Who knows if it's going to be that 23.5 mark a lot of overall TA people have been talking about, or if it seems to try and settle out right at these little tips right here. Just about 25K, honestly, is where that's sitting.
What was it that Kelly called the Wyckoff into the ABC? Which apparently it played out exactly like that.
Yes, it did.
But I think it was a Wyckoff accumulation, or
I believe you're correct. And Kelly was pretty excited because he's called this move out a while ago, and
Kelly.
he was giving people the alpha that it was coming. You know, we were given kind of the heads up, hey, there's probably a cool off coming. You know, I think it's like a month and a half ago with Evan Aldo. That's when we really realized that there was some downside coming. It's definitely playing out in the charts, as you can see right there. But it's a matter of, I don't know where this thing
do we get the
finds its-
19.7 I've been calling?
That's the question right here. 19.7 would be,
I don't know if we get it in September.
yeah.
I'll do a 25-cent bet that we hit it at some point before the end of the year.
Mhm.
September seems possible.
That's the golden question.
I'm
though.
biting my tongue to not sing a song right now.
That's the golden question. I know a lot of people are wondering about Solana too and this FTX stuff coming up. It's been a pretty big week. We have Wednesday coming up. FTX liquidation approval is pending court ruling. This is for Miles Dushner. Wednesday, also the US CPI data gets released. Wednesday and Thursday, Token 2049 conference. Thursday, PPI comes out with retail sales data. So basically, he's just highlighting brace for volatility. This is made before today's volatility. So give it even more confluence on its accuracy. But this isn't even the FTX dump yet. We're just seeing.
Well, the other thing we do have to talk about is we've very often talked about quantitative easing. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe we have ever done quantitative tightening, especially in the way that we need to do it. So that's going to get very interesting. So whenever we're talking about looking at previous cycles or looking at previous occurrences, like whenever I talk about the 40-year cycles with interest rates and things like that, like we have reference data for all that. But truly going into quantitative tightening, I don't think we've ever actually done. And again, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm glad you bring it up. I mean, that matters on like overall money liquidity, global liquidity. I have this chart we can show from the Kobalesi letter. Global liquidity is down $1 trillion over the past 10 weeks. This is highlighting
this is
recent
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, it is. So we're now back to pre-pandemic liquidity levels, which is an important note to make. After printing and handing out $4 trillion in stimulus while lowering rates to zero overnight, the party is now over. There's no such thing as free money, and we may be potentially on the edge of a liquidity crisis. Now, people, especially in the XRP army and everyone that's researched the background of Ripple knows that that's kind of the linchpin that, kind of XRP maxis or, people that think that Chainlink is going to own everything within Swift are looking for this forcing of the hand for a liquidity crisis to basically push money markets towards cryptocurrency for just the very aspect of its backing by Bitcoin that can be done more easily. But then, we have overall liquidity problems in the global liquidity. This is definitely on the downturn. This is 2020 right here. COVID happened and they absolutely supercharged the liquidity. Now that does look like it is pulling back a bit. And I do have, let me pull my screen down here. I want to find this other chart that.
Well, it's also like
up
what the Deadwood was talking about. I think it was the Deadwood or somebody else. I apologize if I'm getting this wrong, but yeah, like sniffing a banking crisis again with Klaus Schwab, which is probably going to happen. Look at the housing market. They say it's not going to pull back. You can't really trust Zillow's numbers. You look at the beginning of the year how institutional investors were about 20% of the market. They've sold off about 8% already this year. So all that's going to start dumping. So at some point, we do need to figure out what's going to happen with interest rates. Does anybody have the slides clue?
Let's look at this. I'm glad you're bringing up.
Like a lot of these charts are very relevant.
I know.
I've been staring at them all.
I'm
weekend.
prepared.
So this is another chart in relevance to what you're talking about. Can they continue to keep increasing interest rates, right?
No.
So this is basically small bank cash reserves and large bank cash reserves. This is total assets counted here. Red is small bank, blue is large bank. And so what you have here is basically from COVID right here. Take our faces out of here so we can see this beginning line. So right here, this is COVID. This is where basically the cash on reserve for the banks actually was increasing. You have a lot of liquidity being injected artificially into the markets. And then this is what happened. And now with bank term funding programs, which were released in March and literally created right here at these vertical lines. So bank term funding program is that third vehicle of quantitative easing that they're able to use while continuing the guise that the Federal Reserve is raising interest rates and that the Treasury is not doing reverse repos and things of that nature. This is the third vehicle of quantitative easing that was put into place to save these banks from collapsing. Now, this is what happened with it. And this is where they are, but this is the trajectory if you could assume that there was no bailout in this third degree created for them in March this year. It would have continued downwards. And there's another graph I want up here. Pull me down real quick. I'm going to find this next one because we're talking about...
Also point out that we're at 0.069.
Oh my God, you had to go there.
Wow.
You had to go there, right?
Somebody has to be the cultured one.
It's true. It's true. You are quite cultured. Here we go. So this is the chart. We talked about this about 2 weeks ago, right as it broke. But we are now at over 80% of all U.S. money has been created since 2020. right? So reason I'm bringing the confluence of all three of these graphs together,
It's insane.
it's insane. We are dealing with a very, very volatile time in just traditional money markets, as you can see.
That plus the fractional reserve banking being set to 0, that plus not raising the debt ceiling but putting on pause till 2025. It's like you want a catalyst for the nastiest recipe you've ever made that not even grandma without any taste wouldn't touch. That's where we're at.
Right. Absolutely. And so with all of these graphs being shown, it looks like they have no point but to turn back on quantitative easing to not break the banking sector. But if they turn it back on, then that 80% created is going to turn into 90%. You know, it's going to turn into 95%. Then you're teetering on that potential for a hyperinflationary environment. Thankfully, the overall time frame of how this is being rolled out is by 2025, CBDCs will be in place for the United States.
That's one
Right?
C90 FTW.
What's that? What's he got?
Grandma doesn't even use salt and pepper due to the high cost. I don't know why I made you a refined Southern gentleman.
Very nice, very nice. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing to pay attention to overall. And you know, I'm going to show this graph because DZ showed a little bit of this on his crypto Twitter minute this morning. But this starts in 1985. You had your income, and then the annual rent, the annual household income, and then the median rent compared here. The household income is the blue. The rent price is the red. This started in 1985. Now, this is all beginning right after the heels of the last financial crisis in the 70s. You saw interest rates go up to 18% that everyone always talks about. The homes to mortgage them was 18% mortgage rates. Now we're sitting at around 7 to 8%. So it's not that bad. We haven't clamped down as hard as we did in the 70s to get out of that spot, but there's a lot that's not talked about as far as there's less money in the markets.
Well, what I'd be interested in, I wish I had the chart based off of this. I know I keep talking about the housing thing, but like I'm in the market and a lot of this is relevant. Is if you look at the cost for institutional buyers to buy houses, we're now seeing the first downward tick on rent prices. So that's the chart that I really like looking at, because as that goes down, then your potential yield off of invested properties starts to go down. And then again, all those guys start pulling out. The other weird thing that's interesting to look at, I'm sure we'll eventually get on this, is knowing where your liquidity is coming from is very important. Doesn't matter how hot she is. You want to know that.
Hey.
Sorry. But Coinbase is now up to 5% on stable coins.
I saw that on Twitter, yeah.
Plus a banking crisis, they know something you don't know. Like, do not take that as a positive thing. Like, they need liquidity for a reason. And I know we talked a while ago. The question is, who is going to buy bonds because nobody's buying them? Is it going to be the crypto market? And then do we start seeing things like, if FTX comes back, which it probably is in some way, shape, or form, Coinbase and all these other guys, are they going to be the ones that are basically grabbing liquidity from us with these yields, buying bonds, and then that is a pseudo quantitative easing, if you will.
Right. Absolutely.
Let me ask a question real quick.
What's that?
You can ask.
And I want to hear y'all's opinion. Chad, I want to hear yours too. Are we in a silent depression? I've seen some videos on it, and I've brought it up to people like, no, dude,
I don't think it's
no.
silent. We're definitely in it.
Yeah, we
we're
showed the
absolutely
video
in it.
yesterday of that. That was one person that was just comparing the 30s income levels to what we're dealing with right now. Houses were, I think that housing.
Well,
back
it's more
in
the
30s,
percentage there.
It was.
Didn't we show that?
Yeah, because in the 30s, it was like 3 times your salary for a home, and now it's 8 times your salary for a home. So basically, right now, things cost more. You make less in comparativeness to how much things cost around you. And as the economy slides and goes on an actual downturn, then you're in a worse spot. Actually, it's just statistically, if you look at it and how it's compared to the 30s, it's actually much harder for people right now. But we have the luxury of electricity across the board. A lot of baseline living levels that people experience is better than it was in the 30s. If you think about that, like you're not churning your own butter. You have basically the ability to go buy cheap margarine right now. You're not living the healthiest. It's kind of the silent depression aspect about it. People get kind of just pushed into food that is like lesser quality than they would like to be eating.
That's an issue I've been having too. It's like,
is.
man, I want to eat healthy, but a salad is $15, but this double cheeseburgers
Yes.
$6, and
Oh,
it's
that's
like
what I'm thankful.
I'm balling on a budget, so like I'm gonna eat the cheeseburger.
I'm
You
thankful
know,
for the Decatur's farmers market because prices have not changed there that much on the goods. Very random thought though.
What's that?
Gotta have to not get us canceled for this one.
Please don't.
With the number of units of bipedal organisms decreasing at an exponential rate compared to where they once were, will that be beneficial for supply of things and the availability for goods?
What are you talking
Bro.
about?
Dumb
Excess
down.
deaths are way the fuck up, and I'm interested how that is going to be with all of this because
I'm not gonna tell you why I think that is.
you have a reduction
I'm
in
not
the
gonna tell you.
workforce, literally.
Yeah.
You have a reduction in demand for what those people need. You have a reduction in consumers. So, like, how does that all fall into this? And at what point is that number relevant?
Yeah, we did a video on depopulation and just kind of like how the birth rates are below where they need to be to sustain society. You do see immigration kind of picking that up because birth rates are much higher in India and Africa. So you're going to see, in my opinion, over the next 50 years, that deficit that European nations and America have and China have on their birth rates are actually going to be filled in basically by large amounts of immigration, refugees, or however you want to
I'm not
call them.
repeating what Bro Tip said, but
Oh my God.
clever girl.
We see you, bro, Jeff. We see it. Well,
It's good.
and you're talking about a little sketchiness on the high interest that Coinbase is offering. 5% is a little steep. We saw FTX collapse a little earlier. I think it was a year or two ago now. It's kind of in the past. We're still dealing with the ramifications of that. That might be playing a little bit into why the markets are dumping right now. Now, again, we haven't had the actual FTX selling off as of yet, but this is breaking from Crypto Rover. I wanted to highlight that they're expected to receive approval to liquidate the following assets. On
I want to
September
highlight
13th.
that Cardano's not on there.
It is not on. there.
Wow.
That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. Neither is Link. This is sparking joy, but XRP is. Solana, they have quite a bit of Solana, about $685 million worth of Sol, 529 million worth of FTT. Bitcoin, they got 268 million. So
That makes me really bullish on Solana and potentially the one that I don't want to say that's after that. Because the ones that are selling the most, and I'm probably an idiot here because I am,
Go on.
doesn't that give you much more buying power after the price crashes later?
It would.
Like that's
If
basically
it comes back, if it resurges, that's the whole question. You're
Yeah.
asking yourself if you're willing to take that risk to see this thing rise like a phoenix from the ashes. If it's, remade and
it's called pulling a Jean Grey.
a Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Okay. Was that Spider-Man? What are you doing?
Just shut off the show.
Yeah.
I
don't watch
this is
television.
stupid.
I don't watch television.
It's from comic books, bro.
Oh.
The Phoenix Saga from
Yeah.
X-Men.
Okay.
First the Groot
God,
comment,
that's where
now
it's
this.
from.
Oh fuck.
I'm sorry,
You
BJ.
spend too much time with your chickens.
A lot of
Watch
people are
some
worried.
TV.
I know I do spend too much time with chickens. This is from DeFi Investor, just talking about FTX's holdings of Solana particularly. One thing that's worth noting about its holdings is it holds a very large number of Solana supply. Most of it is still locked and will be fully vested in 2028. Sol price can still be impacted in the short term, but not as bad as everyone expects. It's been vested for longer release than this, kind of initial dump ability that FTX will have on its tokens in general. Looks like they have Sol vested until 2028 in some regards. So that'll help kind of stave the downward pressure that markets are going to feel. But I mean, across the board, it's been brutal today. Like we have seen Arbitrum getting crushed. Let's see here. Let's do the 24-hour. SafePal is up.
Wait,
Whatever
I haven't
that
seen
is.
that.
What is that?
The FTX bankruptcy estate, like on the Telegram bot base ecosystem.
Oh, let's see here.
Oh, that's where they put like hot articles. I've never noticed that before.
Oh, up here. Where did you see that?
Right there, scroll up. So right above the charts, go down.
I'm so
little fire.
lost.
Oh my God. What is this?
I'm assuming they're
This is like a new section.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never noticed
FTX bankruptcy estate right here.
this. So this is all the stuff they're selling.
This is all the stuff they're selling right now. Good eye. Good eye.
Intriguing.
I like that. Okay. As Serum is on there. Everyone hated that thing. A mess. Oxygen. So many projects here. And like This is a nice just review on everything that, people can tell you is going to be the future of finance and ends up just getting absolutely crushed by being dumped by a insolvent exchange. So keep that in mind as we're looking at these, lower market cap projects.
But it almost screams like what I've been talking about in general with being able to get your unrealized losses and turn them into realized losses if FTX in some way, shape, or form comes back.
I think it's coming back.
They are able to take massive tax cuts right now, manipulate the prices down on these things, and then buy them back up.
A lot of people think it's kind of crazy.
It makes me a little bit bullish on Solana.
It's probably coming back.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy.
I don't support it, but
it's a real thing, man. People got short attention spans.
The two things that Solana have the most for it, even though I'm not a fan of it, Rust protocol, massive, institutions behind it. So again, there's projects that I like. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't want to touch certain things. It's like, no, I don't want to, but sometimes you see where money is, so you go to it. But I would keep my eye on Solana for sure.
I mean, we got time to figure out which one.
I don't want to touch it.
I'm not touching it. I don't want it.
We have time, though. I mean, this is from Root, National Root, just highlighting the halving progress. We're 84% of the way there.
The ice caps are melting.
Yeah.
Good one, Alec.
We're almost there, guys. This is the halving that we're looking for. This is the one we're going after right here. Now, historically, we've seen kind of sideways chop with a nasty black swan, which I don't discount as might being a potential. But in general, I just felt good beginning to build my chain link and my HBAR holdings right here. And we'll plan on continuing basically all the way up to the halving and then from there stopping buying. But this is how far we are along in the overall process. It's getting close. It's about March of 2024. It'll be actually happening. So, we got to keep this in mind. This is just an interesting graph. The most probabilistic outcome for a rally in history books. The market has assigned this as the least probabilistic. God, I hate that word. Outcome.
What probabilistic?
Probabilistic. Well,
God, you sound drunk saying that.
That's such a terrible word.
It's like judicial.
Yeah, that's a very terrible
I don't like
word.
that word.
This is interesting. That just showing the growth of the NASDAQ, the growth of Bitcoin, and then the growth of DXY. And, just kind of showing yes, we can use these as reverse indicators to a degree, but
I mean, the DXY is a reverse indicator. It go down, Bitcoin go up.
And it has been that way, but in general, logarithmically, they're both on their way up, and I don't see the American dollar as losing its dominance over the next few years. I know that I talk about de-dollarization in BRICS probably a lot more than most people, but I still think that they don't understand how much U.S. dollars are still out there held by other countries that are beholden to those treasury holdings for certain amounts of time. And then you also have military pressure and then sanctioning pressure and all of these other different things that are playing on to these countries that want to join BRICS. So I know that it's, a crazy option that it's been proposed to, basically a parallel world government. It's an insane thing to think about. And yeah, we're definitely at least in the middle of a Cold War right now. It's up to them if they want to go to the kinetic side of it between the big kahunas. But in general, I don't think that we're going to see a de-dollarization happen even within the next 5 years. We're going to see a slow move towards that and then a conflict there within when it actually starts hurting the pocketbook of the US Gov. That's if it ever even gets to that point. We have time. We don't have to think that the house is on fire immediately and then send everything into Bitcoin. We can take time in holding money in the background on the sidelines for further dips. Very important to do. For instance, I was in Tether, got back into the market, into Chainlink and HBAR, but I still kept 25% on the sidelines just in case we get a lower low and we do get a chance to touch that $20,000, $19,500 Bitcoin price that would be realized in that CME gap that everyone's talking about. Now, is it a guarantee we get there? Absolutely not. But if it does, I'm positioned to use that 25% for that dip. And if it doesn't, that 25% will just be used to buy the best projects I can come across from now up into the halving. That's basically my rinse and repeat process. And you got to think about the context of the time here. Hohem just highlighting we're still early. BlackRock wants in, we got Fidelity wanting in, PayPal, the world's biggest private payment processor, moving into crypto with its own stable coin. We got Visa, hooking up with Solana. In huge news last week, we got ARK Invest. ARK, not the greatest calls, but in 10 years, it's going to be well off from its moves right now. So I know a lot of their recent picks or moves in and out of coin haven't been the greatest, but they're going to be fine in the long term. Vanguard once in, one of the biggest companies on earth. JP Morgan, essentially the U.S. central bank once in. This is your last chance, and here's why. Now, this is his take. Personally, I do think we'll get a little bit of a chance in the.
I read that as firstly, I want to conflagrate you.
Yeah,
I was like, damn.
Yeah, he's coming at
Not
me.
that kinky.
Yeah, he's coming at me harder. All right, you're still here before this is all about to go crazy. The last cycle of the Wild West. When you feel like a pirate in a cycle, it's because the opportunity is homogeneous. Will we see anything similar again? Well, yes. However, once the players come known to town, guess what else is coming? Regulation. Good, right? Yes and no. So regulation will be set up through the big guys so that they can win and keep winning. The opportunity to turn nothing into something will dwindle. And you got to keep that in mind. These small market cap chances of access that we have right now as retail plebs in the middle class, in the lower class, making moves on up, bettering ourselves is going to dwindle because with that regulation, you'll see more and more guardrails put in front of you so that you can't enter that $20,000 market cap pool just yet. You have to wait for the big guys to make all the money first. Super great. You're early for the last time. This is your cycle to turn rags into riches. Once you create those riches, utilize them wisely. Absolutely agree with this. I like land and vehicles and irons for that. The system will favor the wealthy. The system can make you wealthy in that very same process. You're in the right cycle at the right time. You just cannot gamble your riches away on bad trades. Do not gamble your riches away on bad trades. Super high leverage is not healthy for big bags, right? It's fine if you like. For me, if I want to use 100x leverage and feel something, I'll do it with $50, $100, something that you might not come back with. Don't go losing the farm on a hunch, and don't waste the opportunity that is unfolding in front of you. I really like this tweet. Just a little bit of encouragement for the time being, because obviously Bitcoin's crashing. You have a lot of people, oh my God, are we finally getting 10K and this internet scam's finally over? No, it's not. It's going to be a boring up and down crab market that'll verify both bears and bulls over the next few months, calling for higher moves, lower moves. You're going to get it all. It's about being stubborn and convicted to the projects that you're actually choosing to stick with into the bull market. In my opinion, that's kind of the biggest thing. Like Altcoin Daily came out with this, just explaining Ethereum's price history, really hit good for me. It's like they come out $398. Ethereum is too expensive. I'll wait. Ethereum failed at $170. I told you. And then bust up to $1,400. Ethereum is too expensive. Once again, they're waiting on the sidelines. Bam, nasty crash. Oh my God, it's over. We failed once again. And then 4,600. Ethereum is too expensive. I will wait. And the cycle just continues.
Do you all have friends like that?
Yes.
I have so many friends that, like, when the price went up a bunch, it was like, yeah, so-and-so's a millionaire, blah, blah, from buying these cryptos or whatever. Yeah. And like, man, like, I wish I had that chance. And then the price goes down. And then you're like, hey guys, I'm personally buying now. You should too. Like, oh no, it's too big of a risk. I'll wait. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. So I just quit telling my friends what I'm saying. This is what I'm doing. Do your own research, because anytime, like, hey, buy this, and it doesn't work out, they're like, you told us to do this. This is your fault, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I look at this time as a great time to just DCA in, keep buying. And
I mean, I am.
Yeah.
I'm running a stake pool and still DCAing.
You're talking about ADA in the teens. You're telling me.
That's hot.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
That's double Diddy's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, think about that, because then you can be buying it right now at 24 cents, 25 cents. But if it dips into the teens,
so do the math.
That's pretty good.
You say it's at 25 cents. You put in 12 grand. That's 48,000 ADA. ADA goes to $4, which is conservative. That's $192,000 in less than 18 months off of $12,000.
Yep.
And you're outside of capital gains tax.
And hopefully you won't lose that money like the Pentagon lost $2 trillion.
Wow. Shout out to September 10th. What?
So this is just a quick shout out here. All right. So never forget, Donald Rumsfeld held a press conference on that the state and the Pentagon were missing more than $2.3 trillion. But the next day, something happened, and everybody forgot, and a war that lasted over 23 years in various countries began. And now the world is divided.
Also, shout out to Alec Wilson for also staking to NES pool, and Beastmaster for constantly shilling it. Thank you.
Beastmaster, he is always in there telling people, if you have
awesome.
Cardano, NES pool,
If you come to Atlanta, I owe you would probably
he will not lose your funds.
I can't because I don't have your funds.
Look at that. See, the beauty of Cardano
I
decentralization.
literally have no access to your
We
funds.
just explained the value of crypto like absolute hillbillies. He won't lose it. He can't lose it. Guess what? It's on a decentralized network. So
I can make a machine work that make you money.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to do with it.
So
besides making it work.
Did you see this? The shot of the day brought to you by Moderna.
That's the shot of the day.
So this guy, let me see this.
Oh, you mean the guy they shot on forever who now just won?
There's no audio.
Yeah. What is that? Dirk, whatever.
So this guy,
they literally wouldn't let travel
Yeah.
to the U.S. Open because he wasn't vaxxed, and now the
Djokovic.
shot of the day.
Djokovic, is that how you say his name?
I can't remember how to say.
Djokovic.
Yeah.
I think I got it right. Yes, he is the guy who said, no, you may not jab
The
me.
no
and,
jabby jab guy.
and now he is literally the shot of the day brought to you by Moderna at the recent tennis
That's amazing.
championship. That is just the absolute beautiful irony of, in my opinion, how God works in mysterious ways. So good on him for staying strong. It's a little shout out to us in the crypto market for staying strong, staying convicted to what we believe in, what's right for the modern monetary system to do. It's not going to be an easy, painless process. You're going to see massive ups and downs in the market as we see today. And then sometimes you will accidentally overpay for transaction fees. It looks like.
Speaking of which, Sofa King, if you don't want to accidentally pay too much for transaction fees, so they want to set, 1.62 ETH for ADA. So again, I don't see Ethereum doing more than a 3x. I really don't.
So you're thinking like 12,000 is top.
I don't think you're getting above 9. You're
Think
definitely
so?
not getting above 10.
Yeah.
Like you're just not. We did the market cap on that.
I was thinking 8 or 9 is what I was thinking last time.
So 4x. Wow, that was the most. Anyway, Cardano, again, guarantee you're getting a 10x. Like I'm very confident with that. Like very confident. From 25 cents to $2.50. Do you really think that's not happening? And that's a 10x.
That's a pretty reasonable
I'd be a very happy boy with that.
Yeah. So obviously do what you want. Maybe do half. I personally would do the whole thing, but that's you. Like that's
Depends on what your risk tolerance is too. Like if you only need to double up or triple up until your life is completely changed and you have your mortgage cleared off, like you got to build those goals and understand how much you need to multiply it by to get what your goal
equals
is.
almost certain to
Yeah.
Do your own research.
I mean, look, something weird could happen. The network could completely crash. There are things that can happen.
We could have an EMP.
But the cycles have kind of shown that you return to the all-time highs.
Yeah.
Like that's happened, 3 times now?
Yeah. Well, Aaron, we're going to cover that October 4th emergency test response, aren't we?
Yeah.
So on October 4th, apparently they're going to be sending a emergency message broadcast system to every television, phone, landline, fax, all the stuff on October 4th saying there's an emergency test broadcast going out. So if you see that coming, don't be terrified. But
what's the reasoning for it? Just to
make sure we're equipped for national readiness.
security.
Yes, national security.
It's like, what are they preparing us for? I'm scared.
Don't ask questions. Yeah.
Look, you want me to shill some financial advice for you for real? Go listen to Anti-Flag's discography and it's so funny how on point they were even 20 years ago. Like
Anti-Flag?
Anti-Flag.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
God. It's one of my favorite bands.
This is something, just while we're slightly on the macro stuff, I wanted to highlight this. The U.S. is now importing more from Mexico than China for the first time since 2003, which is just an overall shift in who we're buying from. So you can see China and Mexico as of the percentage of U.S. imports on a 12-month moving average is now dipping back
I mean, if we're going against BRICS, how isn't this positive? It's a country that's right next to us.
I know. And
people are already coming in. You get a good strength between the two countries.
Mm-hmm.
You say if you're trying to go for a green movement, that's less on transportation costs. Like bullish.
Absolutely. And then there is just a little bit more. Where is it? Pull up here. So this is United States construction financing, private non-residential manufacturing. We see that computer, electrical, manufacturing, and construction is absolutely going ballistic right now, which is just a nice thing for me to see that we're trying to move towards manufacturing our goods here in the United States more so, be a little bit more sovereign with our production capabilities. And while Germany is deindustrializing, the U.S. construction spending is going parabolic, again, just in general on manufacturing, going through the roof. Gut not Deutschland. So this is just the construction spending on U.S. manufacturing in particular within the past few years. And honestly, this makes me feel very, very bullish on America's ability to be and stay a competitor throughout the next few decades.
This is funny. The Deadwood says those Toyotas out of Mexico have subpar wells on their frames are being called back. Well, Fender Mexico had to fire most of their luthiers because people stopped buying Fender American guitars because they were too good. Yeah, during the late 90s and early 2000s, literally you could get a better guitar for 1/3 of the price just because the luthiers were just kicking ass.
Oh my God.
So like
this is the alpha.
Yeah, like late 90s, early 2000s Mexi Strats are actually really good. Really good.
Okay. Well, China's currency is continuing to fall. We have a new 16-year low. We've been covering its demise through the weeks, watching it fall like a glorious set of fireworks into a cavern. Someone go check on the dollar's dead, folks. This is a great little tweet, just, kind of hitting the anti-dollar American haters in the ribs. I know a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines waiting for us to fail. I just don't think you're going to get it. I think that the strength of the American military and industrial capabilities is going to really shine because the monster, the beast, is waking up. So this is just another repercussion. Chinese yuan. I think it's yuan, right? Is that how you say it? Yuan? Yuan. Yeah. I think I was corrected last week. So trying to get it, right for the people. But I wanted to do this one too. So this is from Don Alt, calling out a big surprise. So this is Zach XBT breaking down Trader 1SZ and Trader _XO and Trader NJ1 pump and dumping 6 figures of PAL, PAAL on their followers. This is the roadmap of how that dump was coordinated. Thank God for Zach XBT out here tracking this stuff.
What am I looking at?
I know. This is just a slew of different transactions that are to and from wallets.
A Star Trek fan.
Yeah, he's a major Star Trek fan. But what Donald says of here is really what I want to get at. So, what a big surprise. Another pump and dump. But yeah, you guys keep doing your thing, falling for the most obvious scamfluencers in the space and seeming to be a sport taken very seriously on here in crypto Twitter. And, I just want to ask that we look for a little bit more utility when we're looking at projects, look for more, real world use cases, not just, a funny word that might be hot this week. And then we're all talking about it. It kind of, at a degree, when you see 1 million tokens listed on CoinMarketCap, or, even 50,000, I think they've tailored it back down to try to show only 10,000, but it gets absolutely saturated and there's a lot of scams out there. You got to be very, careful in your own research. If you have, I'm looking at this Klein Tech, project a fellow brought up last week in the basement chat, and I'm still not ready to give my thumbs up or down on it because I really, really got to dig into it. You got to be careful when you're looking at information that might be just purely posted by people that want you to buy the whatever it is, the token, the milk, whatever it is that you're looking at. So just keep that in mind. I had to give Donald some love. I really like that account. And this is just on the G20 leadership meeting this last week to make a crypto decision that could change everything. And if you're in crypto, you need to see this. This is from Keyur Rohit, Crypto King Keyur. So basically the G20 representing the 20 biggest economies are advancing a framework for global crypto assets. how to collectively think about empowering fellow humans to make our planet more inclusive and well sustainable. And really what they mean by this is we want to know where every single one of you peasants are at all times, and we're going to understand all of your transactions there within. That's just my take. But I am a little biased, so keep that in mind. Giving examples on how technology could be leveraged to bring a positive difference in the lives of our citizens. Now, basically, it's just that India's finance minister has dropped the news that they take an interest in the International Monetary Fund and FSB's crypto synthesis paper. A roadmap for the future of crypto is on the horizon. Within this whole framework is basically just the massive, consistent talking point of transaction interoperability, that they need to be interoperable between the countries, but also traceability. And the lack of privacy is a requirement for most of these large countries and institutions that are even considering adopting crypto. So I don't think that, proof of work, privacy tokens are going to be anywhere near the conversation table when it comes to who's going to get a piece of the pie when it comes to CBDC and international remittance payments and transfers. I don't think that privacy coins are even going to be on the same solar system as that. But these countries are looking for different projects or programs that can help them facilitate high amounts of data in a transparent way, tell them exactly who's moving what, keep it clean, autonomously organized, and basically a push and play system for controlling the money flow and capital flight to keep the money in their system. So we see the G20 talking about this as a group collective. Really, the reason why I highlight that story is because we're putting out what we want here in the United States, which is honestly a lot less than what the rest of the world wants immediately at the time being. A lot of the world outside of the US is moving towards CBDCs much faster than us. They're, basically opening up the doors to cryptocurrency in a more open-hearted fashion. We here in the US, we are at the top of the pile when it comes to monetary control. So it's going to be harder for that power to be handed over. But the ball is slowly starting to move. We just need to be, as people, outspoken to make sure that our privacy can be protected to the degree of which it should be protected. And, there's some lessons that we can learn, especially on today. This is September 11th. So it's a very remorseful day for all those lives that were lost on 9/11 all those years ago. But 22 years ago, since 9/11, what did we get? This is from Jameson Lopp. We got TIPs, we got the TSA, we got the Department of Homeland Security, we got Real ID, we got Talon, NSEERS, Black Sites, No Fly List, the Patriot Act, absolute mess, basically dismantling the American Constitution at will, domestic spying, calling people internally to the United States the biggest threats, as we see Sleepy Joe doing currently right now, getting the narrative ready for another hot political season. Militarized police, just goes on. Proclamation 7463. Free speech zones. Yeah, free speech zones. Imagine you have to designate where you can speak, right? All of these things that we've been slow boiled into over the last 2 decades still exist, still are employed on the average American citizen in the name of your safety, right? We need to spy on you. We need to make sure that your junk gets felt up every time you go on an airplane, and that's just normal, right? Watching little kids get roughed up at the airport, that's just normal at this point. These things aren't normal. And what happened 22 years ago is an emergency degree that needs to be rescinded. So, if you see all these things going on and you think, oh man, we need to, from here on out, we need to build out our privacy. No, you need to reclaim your privacy and your right to freedom that was taken away 22 years ago. And that comes from reaching out to your representatives by being a vocal person in your local community and local government to make sure that you're outspoken and make sure that they know that that we know, that we all know. So that's important.
Well put.
What's that? I wanted to kind of riff on, just on tyranny while we're here.
Dude,
Blade Runner.
I saw in China that you have to get your face scanned to purchase things.
Oh yeah.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah. Yep, and your bank account tied to your face.
That's crazy.
Social credit score.
Sir, you can't buy this Little Caesar pizza until you scan your face.
It's already in place. Like here in
Well,
London.
until you lose weight.
Oh my God.
Because they decide you're too fat to eat that pizza. Yeah.
Oh, that's a real thing out there. The calorie controls. That's another thing.
Or your-
calorie
That's a real
controls.
thing?
Your kid got
Calorie
a D on his
controls.
test. You're a bad parent. Guess you're not buying beer tonight. Yeah, whatever they want.
Yep. Just
Wow.
imagine.
Whatever they
And
want.
this is the beginning. It's
No,
in
thank you.
London already. It's obviously in China. These are the Blade Runners
China.
making some noise lately. Footage of a man calmly dismantling ULEZ cameras that the government put up to catch drivers using their vehicles across the capital. Any gas vehicle older than 2006 will be fined 12.5 euros each day. Also, diesel vehicles before 2015 are forced to pay as well.
What?
All an automated control system of payments due to the government handled by these camera systems. These are known as Blade Runners, that they literally are just going around the neighborhood taking down the idiotic cameras because sometimes reasonable men must do
Reasonable
unreasonable
things.
things. Unreasonable things.
Reasonable things.
I mean, it is
That is
obviously
reasonable.
It is reasonable. It's expected. Should be duty for
You
anyone.
said older than 2015?
Yes, look at the arbitrary rules they have. If you're older, if your diesel vehicle is older than 2015, you are forced to pay. And if you have a gas vehicle older than 2006, you'll be fined 12.5
That's wild.
euros each day. Literally for just
that's
existing and
pounds,
driving
by
to
the
and
way,
from.
champ.
What's that?
That's pounds, by the way.
Well, pounds. Ugh. Yeah, that's true. How they had the Brexit. That's true. Well, good for them.
That's
They may be
wild.
doing something good. but-
Also, I've been trying to find this forever. The charts, when you're looking at a chart and you can see like the buy and sell orders with that chart, like I thought that was like volume profiles. What is that called? Because I've been trying to find that on Cardano to
we
see
need
like
to look.
where there's a huge amount of buys.
Jake would be our resource to get the actual good one. He is
Yeah.
really good. Jake was a very interesting person to come in.
Because I used to have that on Bittrex
Yeah.
when I used to use that, and all of that was there.
He
And
was
I just-
live tracking basically majority of the market through his program for
Yeah.
whatever system he has. Jake, Joshua Jake.
Oh, yeah.
He was pretty cool to get his insight when he came in because I really hadn't followed his stuff at all. And then he brought up his TikTok. He's huge on TikTok. He had some good deep takes. So, that's kind of cool to be able to riff with him, get some confluence. He actually agrees with my sentiment about the energy sector and Bitcoin over the next 5 years. So that was cool to hear as well.
On a
Just
side
making me
note,
feel
I
special.
will respond to everyone in Risky Biscuits on a bunch of stuff I'm taking. Kyle Owens, it is Pro Health is the name of the website.
That's the brand I use as well.
I prefer the NMN and not the NR personally.
Same.
Start with 500 milligrams, not medical advice. Work your way up to a gram.
It's good stuff. I would recommend it. I'm on it too. Makes me feel
Well,
good.
the new
Now-
one I started doing was the N-acetyl cysteine mixed with glycine for basically boosting glutathione levels. I'll eventually do a video on this, I promise. Anyway, back to crypto.
Well, speaking of NM, we had yesterday, Governor Michelle Grisham issued the emergency order for temporary suspension of concealed carry and open carry in Albuquerque. This was the sheriff's response. Basically, no thanks. It was absolutely fantastic. And he just highlights he was elected to represent and safeguard all constituents and ensure that the balance between our rights and public safety is maintained. That means we must critically evaluate any proposal rooted in gun violence. He just highlights what they are doing already. They have a slew of different programs in place that they're trying to fight gun violence with. A lot of it, honestly, is more tethered to the mental health crisis. And basically told Governor Grisham to pound sand, which was absolutely fantastic to hear from a local sheriff. This is why I always say that your local government, your local elections matter much, much more than the national clown show that's coming up. You will see much hatred going back and forth between each opposition. It's going to get very polarizing. Try not to fall into that echo chamber on one side or the other. Keep a level head as we get all of this information from, Sleepy Joe and the Orange Man and whoever else might actually make a choice. Do you think Kennedy is going independent, BJ?
Why?
You think? It seems
That
more
seems
reasonable
like a waste
for
of
me.
time.
You think so?
I mean, we are a one-party system. I'm sorry, we are. Anybody who thinks we have any kind of dichotomous voting or legislation or anything else is a fool. So going, independent, you're just throwing away a vote. It sucks. Until we have some kind of massive reform, like it's just you're voting for the same thing. You're just deciding who's going to do it or what color is going to do it.
Yeah. Well, Biden called
painful.
Vietnam a third world country. this
Does anyone
weekend.
even like Joe?
Well,
I keep seeing videos of like Joe's in town and everyone's on the side of the street like booing him and saying F you and stuff. And then you see Trump at like a football game throwing the football and there's thousands of people around him all loving him and stuff. I'm like, something's not adding up here.
yeah, I mean, he's basically getting cut off. I don't even think I'm going to play this. This video came out this weekend. If you want to go check it out, this is from Lord Bebo. When Biden called Vietnam third world country and then gets cut off and the conference ends.
I do want to. Can we see this?
Do you want to hear it?
See this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Fine. Let's hear it.
About at the conference overall, we talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the southern hemisphere had access to change. It had access. It wasn't confrontational at all.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That's how it's going. Right there.
The piano music.
But wasn't there a more recent one where he was like, "Yeah, I just do what they tell me to do," and then they walked him off stage? Yeah. That's the one I was hoping.
He's not sparking their joy.
I feel like he gets off stage and like slaps his hand like, "We told you not to say that."
It's like that's a figurehead. Like
he's just a puppet. He's a puppet.
It's fucking literally Unky Klaus Schwab that's actually doing a lot of this stuff.
We know it is.
Yeah, it's the WEF.
Larry
it's the
Fink
WHO,
is part of the World Economic Forum.
BlackRock.
We know where it all goes. Larry Fink is on the board. Whoa, what was that?
Corrupt.
But all this last thing I have here, what is that?
Dude's a walking remix.
Yeah, dude is a walking remix.
Have y'all seen those videos where it's like him like walking to a stage or in the White House and someone dubs over like security talking? He's like, "All right, Joe, now take a left, take a." Damn it, Joe!
You
Joe,
can tell they're fake though.
I know they're fake, but they're just really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. Just let him retire at this point. Like, I don't like him, but I feel bad for him. Like, he just like feels like a puppet being dragged across the floor, but in front of people at this point. It gets sad. But someone spent about $500,000 on a Bitcoin transaction this weekend. Likely it was likely there was an agreement between the user and the F2 pool who mined a valid block. The question arises, why would they do this? Potentially laundering Bitcoin. Just basically overpaid by 479,000%. So not that great. Someone paid a lot for, and I saw that.
Is this how people are figuring out? Because I know we talked a while ago about if there is a way with layer 2s, ordinals, and everything else, a way to clog and slow down Bitcoin. So is this like a new way that people are trying to figure out how to like jam up Bitcoin?
Well, that's what I wanted to look and keep an eye on.
Because I'm losing more and more trust in Bitcoin, to be dead honest. Like I want to share a thread. I personally don't own any. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But I don't see how it's sustainable at all, because as fees for mining go up, you're going to have more and more people get out of the mining game, and it super centralizes everything. And doesn't that defeat the entire purpose? And then what eventually becomes the incentive for the network security to continue to running validators? So this is down the road.
Well, and you're bringing up the potential for
10,
change.
15 years down the road.
Yeah, you're thinking
still.
the potential for long-term change over the decades, because new technology comes in.
I have questions.
It's okay
How
to
dare
have
you
questions.
Do I think it's going
like
to rip in the next 8 years twice? Yeah, probably.
Right.
But,
the money will be green. You just need to know when to fold them. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the last thing I want to cover is I come from Colorado, and this is an interesting concept. South Park creators eliminated the need for tipping at Denver's Casa Bonita this year. Servers now make $30 an hour instead of receiving tips. Plus one in the chat if you know or have been to Casa Bonita. This place is absolutely lit inside. They have like waterfall dives. They have caves. They have all kinds of
in that building.
It's absolutely insane.
Not that big.
It was just kind of a cool concept to be paying your waiters $30 an hour. Is just a baseline pay. They're not sitting there being subject to high or low tips either way. Your actual customer isn't worried about tipping, so they're willing to buy more food. And in general, $30 an hour seems like it's this kind of pay grade is what makes someone in middle class like excited to go to work and get their stuff done.
It is Colorado though.
It is Colorado, and $15 an hour in Georgia's probably $20-$25 an hour in Colorado if I would just roughly compare the buying power. And yes, it is, still relatively low pay for their demographic. They're in Colorado. Things probably cost quite a bit, but I thought it was a really interesting concept to pay them $30 an hour. But Casa Bonita is absolutely the shiz, and it probably stays busy all the way through, especially with Trey Parker and Matt Stone buying it. They put a giant Cartman symbol inside of the Casa Bonita.
The tips kill me. Like, I went to Starbucks today and I go to the window or whatever, like, sorry, we have to do this. And it's like, tip. I'm like, tip for what? Working? You're already getting paid to work. Why do I need to tip you?
Drive-through thing?
Yeah. I mean, did I tip him $1? Yes. But I just don't understand it. Like, why? You're at work. Why do you need a tip for this?
I mean, it's a pretty hot contested issue. You know what I mean? And what's better, to pay everyone higher wages across the board? Are they still going to be really, really good at their job? Or will they just kind of be lackluster because they know they're getting their 30 an hour regardless? It was kind of an interesting little experiment I saw Casa Bonita doing, and I'm all for it. This is,
you got to try it.
Look at this. This is Cartman. Look at that. That's inside of the restaurant. Absolutely love it. So if you're in Colorado, check them out, man. And also, if you're looking into Ripple potentially getting into your access point for traditional finance type Wall Street opportunities in crypto, be it Chainalysis or Ripple, check out our link in the description for our sponsor, Link2, making it all possible. They give your early access to Ripple, things like Circle, Polysign, Chainalysis. Just a great vehicle to get around those pesky accredited investor requirements that many of those kind of early investment opportunities have in front of them, kind of getting them away. So it gives you that early access. Get into the alpha while you can. We have the Ripple Cup party coming up in about a month or two up in New York. So it'll be interesting to see what busts open and what news comes out about that. Potentially IPO. Who knows? I want to see. Honestly, I don't know if I'm right. I'm going to definitely clip that. But it's been a day. So it's about 3. We're going to let you guys go. Thank you all for joining us. C90FTW.
I got to go play some
you do
Twin Tower Jenga later.
Oh, my God.
Hey, as the markets dump, I'm going to go get a pump.
Yeah.
Right,
we already did that. We did get a little pump.
I just wanted to rhyme.
We got a gym.
We got a gym. We're getting swole.
Eventually I'll have arms. They're slowly growing.
You got it. It's Rome was not built in a day. You just got to stay true to the process.
Wow, you're going to have me crossing the Rubicon next?
I am. We're on Christmas Eve. Okay. But until next time, we will catch you tomorrow, and I will bid you adieu.
Go touch some grass.